want you to take a look at this article here on your screen. Now, this heifer is a senator from Georgia named Kelly Loeffler, and she's talking about the open carry autonomous zone in Atlanta here around the Wendy's is mob rule. Let's get into what this white supremacist piece of shit is talking about here. Senator Kelly Loeffler, a Republican from Georgia, of course, a co-owner of the WNBA's Atlanta Dream, said in a Fox News interview Thursday, as of, when this interview was recorded here, that people in Atlanta who are openly carrying guns while protesting the death of Rayshard Brooks at the hands of police race soldiers were an example of mob rule. The mob she's referring to are armed protesters, black protesters, who gathered around the area of the Wendy's restaurant where Brooks was killed before it was burned down. The group was attempting to create an autonomous zone similar to that created in Seattle. And they're talking about Chaz. For those of you who don't know, look that up. Here's her full quote. Okay, now this is what the host on Fox News is saying. Host, it's not every day you see people carrying guns in big cities, long guns in big cities in America. What is happening on the streets of Atlanta this morning? Okay, here's Senator Loeffler speaking. Well, Ed, this is totally unacceptable. We cannot allow mob rule. We are a nation of the rule of law, and this is exactly what will happen if we defund the police. And that's exactly what the Democrats want to do there. They go with that Democrat versus Republican bullshit. They have a move to defund, to dismantle law enforcement. I have stood strong with law enforcement from day one. I have recently introduced legislation that penalizes state and municipalities that move to defund without a budgetary reason by withholding federal highway safety transportation funds. So I stand strong with law enforcement, and we need to bring the Justice Act, another nothing burger, to the floor. We need to have that debate. Our country expects us to do that. Okay, now this is saying on her website, Loeffler is boasting about being a champion of the Second Amendment. Oh, I bet she is when it applies to white people, which created the right to keep and bear arms and form well-regulated militias, which is in the Constitution. And a post that makes sure to note that she's pro-gun. Her campaign explains that she's co-sponsoring three congressional bills that will make it easier for Americans to carry concealed handguns across state lines for self-defense, purchase noise suppressors or silencers, for those of you who don't know what that is, and avoid having their Second Amendment rights unfairly infringed by the federal government without due process. The comments from Loeffler, who has supported the Republican-led Justice Act, sparked by Senator Tom Scott, came after Dream Guard Renee Montgomery announced that she has opted to sit out of the 2020 WNBA season to instead focus on working for social justice reform. Montgomery received a report of her coach, Nikki Cullen, with her decision. Okay, now, they're trying to clean up what she said, talking about as of June 30th. This article previously did not clarify the circumstances around Loeffler's comments. Oh, we're going to take care of that right now, though. We're going to get some clarification going on. See, what this is when white people see black folks protecting ourselves and exercising our constitutional rights and saying, you're not going to do this to us, and we actually handle things ourselves with weapons, the same way you see them marching to Michigan, capitals, and all these other places around the country with those guns. White people don't have a problem with it then. You don't hear none of them coming out talking about that then. It's only when black people do it. For those of you that know your history, look at the state of California. When the Black Panthers actually practiced open carry, when that was an open carry state, they changed them laws immediately. They were like, hell no, we can't have these Negroes coming up here with guns. Oh no. And see, it's always a problem when it comes to the Second Amendment or any type of stand your ground law when it applies to black people, and we exercise that right. See, they couldn't come out and just say black protesters. They had to try to code up the language. Y'all have to pay attention to how white supremacy operates with these coded terms and messages in these articles and in the media, the mainstream media. Okay? And see, to go ahead and clarify something for those of you that are not from here, there was no attempted to do it. An autonomous zone was set up where white cops could not come in that area. And it's still there. Okay? It's going to be a lot more of that going on around the country, in fact, the business. So, when you see these white supremacists like this bag of dog shit right here coming out making these statements, they're letting you know that they're like, oh shit, these Negroes are waking up. We should have done this across the country a long time ago, because I'm going to close out with this. There is no cavalry coming unless it's us. We don't have any friends, to quote the great ancestor Dr. John Henry Clark. We have no friends. It's going to have to be us that solve our own problems and protect our own people. And that's the great thing about seeing this time in our country now. Black people are getting on code, as we should have done a long time ago. We got to keep this momentum going, family. Just want to drop this quick story on you so that you know what this bastard here is talking about. Because, I mean, if she thinks that that's the end and that's as far as it's going to go, they haven't seen nothing yet across this country. It's going to be a lot more black people taking our defense into our own hands. Community policing is a must. As long as these white supremacists, which the FBI has said, are in every branch of law enforcement, it's rotten from top to bottom. So when people are talking about defunding the police, they're talking about allocating resources to other areas, whether it's community programs that actually help people, instead of over militarizing these police, which don't actually protect people and solve crimes. They get there after things have happened. If a crime is being committed, especially a violent one, you can call the police, but it takes time for them to get there. And then depending on what area they're called in, you have the racial aspect that comes into it, where they might not come at all, or they just ignore the call to keep funneling things into the prison pipeline. But anyways, family, protect yourselves out here. It's a lot going on. We got to stay on code, stay focused, practice your Second Amendment rights. And if you can't open carry in your state, make sure you are armed and have something on you. You all know I always put links in the description box where you can get tactical defense gear for your own personal protection. Check those out. It's going to be in the description of this video. Black Furs, I'll see you all in future content.